Bryan Kobel is the CEO of TCBP BioPharm Holdings, one of my favorite guys. Well, Bryan, every time you walk into this,
great segue.
I'm sorry about that, buddy.
I really appreciate you throwing me in right after.
Hey, you got a lot of crazy good stuff going on here, and it's really interesting to watch you do the science and acquisitions involved in your business, but also kind of deftly manage the market and expectations. I mean, it's been an interesting year. Talk about it.
Yeah, we're off and running, obviously. One of the positives we had recently is the movement into viral infections, which is great with monkeypox. We actually just announced today that the first patient in the restart of the ACHIEVE trial, so the increased dosing level, has completed their fourth and final treatment for TCB008. So they've received roughly 1 billion gamma delta cells with TCB008. So really exciting about that. We've seen no safety issues. The drug's been very tolerable for patients, at least no safety issues related to the actual treatment. And now once we complete that cohort, we'll have a chance to scrub the data, analyze the data, and then discuss with investors the efficacy results, primary, secondary endpoints, hopefully reaching. And that should happen the first half of next year. So,
hey, Bryan, so since the science is moving the exact direction that you anticipated, things are going well, is the next challenge to raise money to fund top line for the next phase? That's got to be the next challenge, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think the next challenge for us is a couple-fold. One, it's not just the next sort of commercial trial. It's also, what does this data, the efficacy data from phase 2b, open up for us in other arenas? So it's not just, hey, let's keep going down the AML path. It's, all right, now what about solid tumors? We've looked a lot at ovarian, we've looked a lot at head and neck, we've looked at prostate, sort of those types of arenas. What do the combination trials look like? Because we think once this data comes out, you'll see a lot of people knock on the door that are in that sort of ADC, bispecific engager world to combine with TCB008. And then outside of oncology, what's the virology indications look like? We think monkeypox is exciting for us because it opens up the door for potentially a priority review voucher, which remember a couple of years ago, those things were selling for 50, 75 million. So it's a chance to really generate some money for the company as well in a non-dilutive manner. So we're taking a lot of this into account, but I think this data really is a springboard, not just to that next step of the commercial trial, but all these other indications and opportunities in oncology and outside of oncology.
Hey, Bryan, what's interesting is if you look at your model, not only are you guys moving down the field with respect to therapies and getting things approved, but you're also an acquisition company, which is really interesting. You don't see that every day with a BioPharm. Talk about that and plans for the future there.
Yeah, we got kind of lucky, and well, I guess we were lucky and unlucky at the same time relative to the cell therapy market and what's been going on there. And you've seen, a lot of great companies with really good assets are facing massive headwinds in the fundraising world, both private companies and the VCs, where they're struggling to raise funds and struggling to deploy capital, as well as in the public markets. So from our perspective, broadly speaking, we want to be able to help people. And being a public company, that allows us to use our currency to make acquisitions. So looking at expanding our base outside of just TCB008 and our bread and butter of allogeneic gamma delta cells, we're looking at NK companies, we're looking at other modified CAR gamma delta companies, other companies like that, even some that are similar to us, where 1 + 1 = 3, 4, 5. There's a chance here we can take on, using our currency and some cash, expand the base, take on other indications, take on other assets, and all of a sudden, you become one of the largest cell therapy companies on the planet, sort of overnight. So we're trying to take advantage, I think, of what is, a difficult time for cell therapy companies, and also give these companies and their employees a chance to continue to exist and do the work that's necessary to get cell therapy where it needs to be as a therapeutic arena.
If you go back to like the first day, the first start down this road, is it coming along kind of as you anticipated? Is it better than you anticipated?
I think the path has certainly been rougher than we had intended.
Okay.
But I don't think that's necessarily indicative of the organization or the assets or the people. I think it's really indicative of those capital markets headwinds we were facing. If you remember, the company went public, the day after Mark Zuckerberg melted the world with his meta numbers.
Melted the world.
Yeah, and it was just a downturn for biotech for 12, 18 months, cell therapy for now 24 months. So, I think we've had to pick and choose our spots and maybe move a little bit slower in areas that we maybe wouldn't have slowed in. But I also think from the perspective of the team's performance, from the asset's performance, it's gone incredibly well. The fact that we were able to get the IND up and running with the FDA, the fact we're able to reorganize the trial that's ongoing and increase that dosing level with the support of the investigators, the support of the doctors, support of the DSMB, it tells you how powerful this therapeutic could actually be. And the fact that now we have patients, getting billions of cells, it really is incredible. So I think, no path is ever smooth. You never start day one, end up where you want to be, and have this like perfect plan, right?
Yeah.
Nothing ever works, right? Everybody gets punched in the mouth. But I would tell you that we got back off the canvas, and our response to the negative environment is exactly what I felt would come from this team, because they are phenomenal people. They're hardworking, they're intelligent, they're dedicated, and now we are where we are, right? It's just about getting data now. It's incredible.
Bryan Kobel is his name. He, of course, is CEO of BioPharm Holdings, TCBP. Bryan, when we get you on the air next, I know you're coming to town at some point. I want to talk about, you had, I think, 25 or 30 years experience as head of healthcare investment banking. And next time we get on the air, we're going to talk about what's going on in the biopharma world with respect to capital formation, because you guys had a couple tough years. Looked like it was going to be a great year, and all of a sudden we got a little headwinds here. So next time I want to talk about that. His name, Bryan Kobel, as Greg would say. Talk to you, buddy. Thanks, man.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.